Today, we're doing a brutally honest dive into one of America's most unique fraternities. I mean, we're looking at a review that pulls back the curtain on a chapter that pretty much throws every single stereotype you have out the window. So let's just get right into it. What makes this place so different?
Okay, so when you hear the word frat, what pops into your head? Probably everything you see on the left, right? Foam parties, beer pong, being the big man on campus. Well, the frat we're talking about today, yeah, it's a completely different universe. I mean, forget foam parties, think formal gatherings. It's not about being famous on campus. It's about being part of this whisper network.
So where are we? We're zoning in on the Epsilon Chapter of Delta Phi at Rutgers University. And if you know anything about Rutgers, you know it's this huge, super high-energy campus, which honestly just makes this chapter stick out like a sore thumb, because it's intentionally the total opposite. It's like it's operating on a whole different frequency than the rest of the school.
And check out this quote from the source review. It just perfectly sums up their whole deal. They're called a gentleman in a sea of jocks, meme pages, and frat TikTokers. I mean, you can just picture that, can't you? It immediately tells you this is a group that's all about tradition, not trends. Substance, not sizzle.
So you gotta ask, where does this totally different vibe even come from? Well, the simple answer is history. A lot of history. For these guys, legacy isn't just, a part of who they are. It is who they are. And it's all built on this one huge claim, being America's oldest continuous fraternity chapter.
Just look at this timeline for a sec. Delta Phi gets founded nationally way back in 1827. Then, this chapter at Rutgers, the Epsilon Chapter, pops up in 1845. And here's the real kicker. It has been running continuously ever since. Think about that. No breaks, no getting shut down, nothing. In the world of Greek life, which can be super volatile, that's a massive deal.
And that deep, unbroken history, it has a huge effect on their culture today. The review calls it a bit of a throwback, and that really hits the nail on the head. This chapter isn't out there trying to keep up with all the modern frat trends. It's more like a living museum, It's all about preserving this old-school, gentlemanly code.
Okay, but does all this history and tradition actually mean anything in the real world? Like, does it pay off? Let's get practical and break down the benefits, starting with probably the most important part, the alumni network. I mean, this is the million-dollar question for any frat, right? What's the ROI after you graduate? Is all this powerful history just a cool story to tell at a party? Or does it actually, open some doors for you? So the review gives the Alumni Value a 67 out of 100. And that's a pretty solid score. But what it really gets at is that this network is valuable, but it's not loud about it. It isn't about bragging or flashing who you know. It's described as a powerfully quiet force. It doesn't need to shout. It whispers. Okay, so what is a whisper network really? Well, think low flash, high value. The review says it's super powerful in old school fields like law, finance, and medicine. But, and this is a big but, it is not plug and play. You don't just join and get the secret keys to the kingdom. You have to put in the work, be an active part of the brotherhood, and frankly, you have to be the kind of person someone would actually want to recommend. All right, so the professional network is solid, but subtle. Got it. But what about the social scene? Let's talk about what it's actually like to hang out there day in and day out. And this brings us right back to that stereotype we kicked things off with. I mean, given how quiet and traditional it is there any chance this place is a big party house? Are we talking Animal House or something else entirely? Well, the score for stereotypical frat lifestyle comes in at a 36 out of 100. So yeah, that is a big, flashing no. It basically confirms this place is about as far from that cliche as you can possibly get. If you're looking for huge ragers and all that campus hype, this ain't it. So if they're not throwing ragers, what do they do? It's described as much more of a gentleman's club kind of experience. We're talking formal get-togethers, dinner conversations that are actually, intellectual, and a house with real library vibes. They do have parties, sure, but they're private. The guest lists are tightly curated, and get this, you might even hear classical music playing. It's a whole different kind of social scene. Very dignified. Okay, let's just address the other elephant in the room. If it's not a huge party house,
What does that mean for your chances with, the dating and hookup scene?
So on that front, the chance of scoring and hooking up score is a 43 out of 100. What that's telling us is that just wearing the DeFi letters on your sweatshirt isn't some magic pass to becoming a campus heartthrob. The appeal here is way, way more subtle.
But what's really interesting is the kind of appeal it has. The review says it doesn't scream chick magnet, but it attracts a really specific type of person. They call it the brunch with books crowd, which basically means your success depends a lot more on your actual personality and charisma than just the Greek letters on your chest.
Now, the review uses this pretty unique metric to talk about the Brotherhood's internal dynamic. It's called the homoerotic level, and it's really important to be clear here. This is a scale from the source that's all about measuring emotional intimacy and closeness between the brothers. We're talking about the deep talks, the late-night chats, that genuine feeling of having each other's backs.
And on that scale, the chapter gets a 4.6 out of 10. According to the source, this points to a really serious emotional intimacy, a strong, supportive brotherhood. But in a way that's totally on brand for them, it's all very traditional and discreet. It's about real, deep bonds, not about being showy or performative about it.
All right, so we've looked at the history, the career network, the social life, the brotherhood. Let's pull it all together. What's the final verdict from this review? Who is this fraternity really for?
The final overall score comes in at 55 out of 100. Now, that score doesn't mean it's a bad frat, not at all. What it reflects is that this is a super specific, super niche experience. It's not trying to be for everyone. It's incredible in some areas and, completely ignores others on purpose.
And this pros and cons list really just lays it all out, doesn't it? In the pros column, you've got this elite legacy and tradition, a really smart and polished group of guys, that quiet but super powerful alumni network, and just a dignified experience. But the flip side of that coin, the cons, is a pretty subdued social life. It can feel kind of isolated or old-fashioned, a low-key hookup scene, and yeah, it is absolutely not for you if you're into today's hype culture.
So at the end of the day, who is this for? The review is clear. This fraternity is built for a really specific type of person. It's for the thinking man, the quiet achiever. It's for the guy who values legacy way more than he values Instagram likes. The guy who's actively turned off by the whole frat bro caricature. He's looking for dignity, not sloppiness.
And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating final question, doesn't it? In a world that is just built on hype, on being loud, on chasing the next big trend, could an organization like this, one built on quiet legacy, on tradition, on discretion, could that be the new counterculture? Something to chew on.